Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning into another epic battle in Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. This is a 3 vs 3 siege battle, and it showcases some new units that came out in the most recent update, so I hope you guys do enjoy, and without further ado, let's take a look at these army comps. The first army on the battlefield today is the Despotate of Epirus, commanded by myself, and I've got my Great Bombard right in the front lines, which is unleashing its volleys onto the walls and towers of the defenders. And right behind that, I brought 2 units of the Epirite Guard, which is a pretty solid infantry unit. Not a lot of people do bring them, though, because the Skutitoi swordsmen are more cost-effective. However, I brought 2 of these because they actually have some Pila that they can throw, so a ranged weapon. And it does have armor-piercing damage, so it can soften up the defenders in choke points where they're heavily defended. And then right behind that, I brought 2 units of the Italian mercenaries, pretty standard halberdier infantry. And then I've got 4 units of the Skutitoi swordsmen, or Skutitoi swordsmen, which are standard late-period heavy swordsmen. But this is the new unit I wanted you guys to see. And I believe most of the players have brought it in today's battle, so we should see some good action from them. These guys are basically flamethrower infantry. So kind of along the same lines as Nafatoons, but they have like flame cannons that they can fire out. Check these things out. So they've got like the bell where obviously the flames is expelled from, and then some kind of compression canister which holds the ignition, which wouldn't be gasoline, but it'd probably be some kind of oil or resin. Very, very cool. We'll definitely see them in today's battle. I've also brought a catapult, so every attacker was allowed to bring 1 catapult and 1 bombard. Then right behind that, I've got my heavy archers, 4 units of them. Good solid archers because they've got good missile block. That's why I chose them. You can see that their missile block is 40, so not too bad for archers. Nothing like Pavi's crossbowmen, but the crossbows have received quite a few nerfs in the most recent updates, so they're not as effective when you're attacking. They really need to have like a line of sight to the enemy because they do not do a they don't fire up and over anymore. They just fire a straight shot, so they don't have that ability. But I do have a couple of units of the Anglo-Varangioi over on the flanks, 2 units of them. They're the heavy 2-handed sword units. Very, very cool. And then I've got some Dynatoi of the late period, 1 on either flank. And then, of course, I do have the Emperor's Bodyguard. And there he is actually right in front of the rest of his men. Very, very cool indeed. So that's it for my army comps, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next attacker. The next attacking army on the battlefield today is the Republic of Venice, commanded by Azrian Fox, and he has a lot of Signori units on the battlefield today. Starting with his infantry, he's got 5 units of the Venetian Foot Signori of the High Period, which are heavy melee infantry. And then right back here, he's got 4 units of the Venetian Foot Signori, which is a heavy shock infantry unit. So they're fighting more with halberds than swords and shields. And right behind that, he's got a couple units of Balistarii, which is the heavy Pavi's crossbow infantry. He's got 3 units of them. And he's also brought a couple of Ansiri as well. And these guys are really solid archers because they've got shields on their backs. So you can see that their missile block, actually surprisingly, is only 35, which is interesting considering they do have the shields. So my archers do have a little bit more missile block, but 35 still isn't too bad for an archer unit. Then he's also brought 2 units of Piscieri, the medium pike infantry that Venice can field. He also has a catapult and a bombard, as we've seen. We've got the Doge's bodyguard over here with his amazing-looking hat. So there he is. Back behind his lines in the trees. And then Azrian also has a couple of the Signori Knights, the Venetian Signori of the late period, 1 on either flank. And that is it for Azrian Fox's army, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last attacker. The final attacking army on the battlefield today is also Epirus, and this one is commanded by Tattoos and Welding, and he's got pretty much the exact same army as I do as Epirus, but we'll still take a look at the units. We've got 2 units of the Epirite Guard, guarding the siege towers. He's also brought a few units of the Skutitoi swordsmen as well, I believe 3 of them. He does have the heavy archers as well, 4 units. And he's brought 2 units of the Anglo-Varangioi, and also 1 unit of the flame cannons. And I think the Latin pronunciation here for this word, I'm going to give it a try. Chirosifonatores. Chirosifonatores. That sounds right? Sounds Latin, at least. But I'm just going to be referring them to, as flame cannons for the battle. We've also got the Emperor's Bodyguard of the late period here as well. He has a catapult and 2 units of the Dynatoi. And I believe he also has some Italian mercenaries, just like I do. Unfortunately, a sally out from the Defender's War Dogs eliminated his Great Bombard crews, so that was a little bit of a blow to us. But we should have enough artillery to still get the job done and rip down those walls. So without further ado, let's take a look at the defending armies. So we have 3 defending armies tasked with the defense of this city, and we're going to take a look at them all kind of at the same time, but I will let you know who is playing what faction. So the first one we have is TZN, who is playing as the Empire of Trebizond, and then we have Nubnath, who is playing as the Empire of Nicaea, and finally we have Joe Onit, who's playing as the Tsardom of Bulgaria. So let's take a look at all of their units. The bombardment phase is still very well underway, so we have lots of time to take a look at these units in greater detail. So it looks like the Empire of Nicaea over here, he has some Skoutatoi of the late period. These are the spear units. And he also has some Skoutatoi swordsmen. These are from the Empire of Trebizond. So Trebizond and Nicaea are going to be very similar units because they're the remnants of the Byzantine Empire. And they historically really didn't get along with Epirus, which is why they are on opposite sides of the city today. But we've got the Skoutatoi early. We've got some guard archers here from the Empire of Trebizond as well. And looks like we've got some Varangian guard over here, Nubnath, Empire of Nicaea. And the Empire of Trebizond also having some of the flame cannons. And in the town square here, we've got a lot more heavy archers. We've got some Contoratoi, which is the medium pike infantry that Nicaea can field. Also Anglo-Varangioi here. We've got the Trebizond's Emperor's Bodyguard. Each one of them was allowed to bring a catapult. We've got the Tsar's Bodyguard, so this is Joe Onit's general back here. And we've also got some of the flame cannon units from Nubnath, the Empire of Nicaea. And we've got some mercenary Genoese crossbowmen for Bulgaria. We've got the Despot spearmen for Bulgaria as well. Bulgaria is a really nice faction. It's too bad a lot of people don't end up playing them because they've got some really solid units. Very colorful as well. So in the center over here, we've got some more of the Despot spearmen. We've got some of the Voivodes, which is the solid melee infantry that Bulgaria can field. Look at these guys. Some of them actually have leopard capes. That is awesome. And the bronze shields, bronze and silver there, bronze and iron. And he's brought some archers as well. This is still Joe's army. Most of Joe's army is over on this side. However, I believe TZN does have some cavalry over here, some Dynatoi. And we've also got some Cuman Royal Guard from the Empire of Nicaea. Very interesting. So it looks like we got some mercenaries here. And Joe brought a lot of these Axeman units, which double as a doggo unit. You can see this is the unit that actually took out Tattoos and Welding's catapult, or sorry, Tattoo and Welding's bombard so early on. And I think the rest of the forces are just over here. We got some more of the Skoutatoi, and that pretty much rounds it out. So very, very invested in the defense of the city, but because we have so much artillery, they're not going to be holding the walls. They're just going to stick to the choke points and allow us basically to take the walls, because there's no real point. If we take out all these towers, it's not really going to benefit them that much in holding the walls themselves. They just have to make sure that they stay far enough away from the walls that we can't put our archers up on the walls and fire down at them. But without further ado, guys, let's get to this battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and yes, you guys just witnessed a bunch of Skoutatoi spears being toasted alive by that one volley from the flame cannon. And what an epic way to start off this Italian v Italian siege battle. So yeah, it definitely does a lot of damage. We had some debate while, after that volley took place, we had a debate on whether or not the flame cannons are better than the Naphatoon throwers. And I'd have to say, shot for shot, the flame cannons do more damage, I would say, especially in choke points like that. They just use one volley and absolutely toasted over half of that unit. And then I was able to follow in very quickly with the Epirite Guard, and the Skoutatoi swordsmen are already shaken naturally from the horrors that they just witnessed. You can see they're already starting to waver. Now, the only thing that I don't like about the flame cannons, and I totally get why they did this, because they would just be too overpowered otherwise, is that they only have 3 ammunition. So they basically have 3 shots. Because they have ammunition 2, but I believe we just used 1 of them, so 3 total. Whereas I think the Naft throwers have like 6 or 8. So the Naphatoons probably stand to get more kills overall, just due to the fact that they have more ammunition. But the flame cannons definitely shot for shot do more damage, I would say. And plus, that was just an epic sight to behold as well. But yeah, totally destroyed this unit. You can see just the blood and gore here as the men just literally were burned alive. Absolutely disgusting. Those poor, poor souls. But luckily the defenders do have some as well. You can see that TZN does have some of the flame cannons here. And Noobnath, unfortunately, did lose half of his unit. Reason being because he actually was hiding them behind this church here. And I shot the church with the bombard, and the blast radius of the church being damaged killed 15 of his flame cannons. So that is tough to see if you're rooting for the defenders. Also, as well, over here, he had to hide his catapult because I got a good snipe with the bombard and took out one of his catapults. But the defenders are still well entrenched. You can see that I've pretty much moved my forces unimpeded into the city. As I said during the army comps, there's no reason for them to really hold the walls. There's no strategic advantage. They have no towers. There's a ton of breach points. So it's a good call for them to hold the streets and just make sure to stay out of range of the walls themselves, because we will most definitely be putting archers on them. You can see I've got the archers sitting up here, ready to fire down. I've also got another unit of archers sneaking over to this flank. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a couple of shots off on the light archers of the Empire of Nicaea. I did a little bit of a noob move here by keeping my Skoutatoi swordsmen. I didn't put them in shield wall, so hopefully I do notice that. Otherwise, they're going to take some unnecessary casualties. But here we go. We got a really aggressive charge here from the Dynatoi from TZN. Luckily, I was able to put my Skoutatoi swordsmen into shield wall very quickly, and that did kind of hold them off for now. I do have some archers as well that are firing on the cavalry as it does try to retreat. And luckily, I was able to hold this choke point as best as I could with the time that I was allotted, because I did not see TZN's cavalry there until these units were pretty much to where they are standing. But there we go. We've got a slow movement by the, what is these? The Skoutatoi swordsmen from TZN now engaging my Skoutatoi swordsmen. We're actually pretty much on par as far as man count goes, but I do have the Epirite Guard to help them as well. And I am hopefully, I'm trying to volley into the Skoutatoi swords that are facing away here. Unfortunately, this unit is obstructing their view, so they don't really have an arc. They can't really fire over top of other units. Looking over here, though, we do have the Venetians moving into the city finally. He does have some help from the Skoutatoi swordsmen from Tattoos and Welding. But Asrian's taking it more calm, cool, and collected. He takes his time on the outside. He's using his catapult as well to do some really good damage to the city to try to lower their morale. They're already at -1 for morale, melee attack, and melee defense, which is good for us. The lower we can get that, the better off we will be. And it is spreading as well, which is nice to see. Also doing really well against the guard archers here. You can see that they've taken some damage. The Ansiri, I believe, no damage at all whatsoever, which is excellent. I believe Tattoos and Welding, he has expended some of his ammunition as well, so he was firing at them early on in the battle. But here we go. I have moved my swords in against these spears. 1v1, the sword unit should be able to take out these spears. The only problem is that with the arc of the heavy archers, they're going to be getting some nice shots onto the tops of the Skoutatoi swords. And with them being engaged in melee, they're not really going to be able to raise their shields over their head and block the incoming arrow fire. But yeah, I just wanted to take a bit of time as well to apologize for not getting the battle out on Thursday, and also not getting the Napoleon tournament battles out Friday as well. I just recently became aware that the 1212 mod is undergoing another update, and I already stand to lose 3 siege battles, 3 really good siege battles from the previous update. And now I stand to lose 3 to 4 siege battles from this update as well. So I'm really trying hard to get all of these battles recorded so that we don't lose them. Because sometimes during the update, if you don't get the original packs downloaded, then it does actually glitch the replays. And I've had some really good replays lost that way. So I'm just going to be focusing as best as I can in the next couple of weeks to just record as many of these siege battles as possible before updating my game and getting into the new content. I really can't wait until they add in the fleets again too, because that was one of my favorite things to do in siege battles, is to do port assaults and have like an attacking fleet. I think that's a really, really nice aspect of the sieges, but unfortunately all of the naval units were removed from 1212 and we're just waiting for them to be re-added back in. I believe they needed some pretty heavy balancing because the units were like Attila original. They were like marauders, so they were really overpowered in combat, and I believe they were quite cheap as well. So they were really hard to combat, especially as the defenders. Well, this is good for me. I've pushed my Italian mercenaries in amongst my Skoutatoi swords, and they're really going to lend a hand. You can see that the morale unit losing decisively now that I've pushed those units in, which is excellent. Hopefully no archers are focusing down. Doesn't look like it. And over here we've completely broken this flank. The Skoutatoi of the early period have been neutralized, and the Venetian archers are going to be looking for something else to fire upon. I don't want to play all my cards at once. I could break through here using my flame cannon, but keep in mind, guys, that they barely have any ammunition, so I don't want to waste them all at one time. And I thought about moving up this street as well, but that brings us very close to the enemy catapults and the heavy archers that are up on this battlement. And the archers do have arcs, so they will be able to fire up and over. However, the Genoese crossbowmen, they will not be able to fire at any units that are down below like this. They literally need to have a flat line of sight. So for those of you guys that are thinking of bringing crossbows in a siege battle, just be careful. Make sure you have a plan with them, because firing down from the walls, they don't get as many kills as they used to. So they're definitely not the killing machines that the early 1212 had them out to be. Yeah, it used to be that nobody brought archers to siege battles, and land battles not that often as well. I would bring archers just solely for the extra range, to force my enemy to push forwards. But crossbows definitely had the better killing power. And over here you can see Noob Nath. He's left his Varangian Guard actually here within range of my archers. I'm getting a nice arc right over this building. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Going to be getting some nice kills on this very good unit. Funnily enough, the Varangian Guard used to be capped to 1 per army, but they've actually been increased to 3 per army, so you can bring up to 3 Varangian Guard. I think that might be a little bit much, though. I would much rather have them capped to 1 and just make them a little bit more powerful, or make them a late period unit, because the Varangian Guards are actually a early period unit. So just make them a little bit more powerful. But this is exactly what I was waiting for right here. A huge charge through with the Venetian Signori. They actually broke through the lines over here of the Skoutatoi swordsmen, and they are just running around, causing mayhem every which direction. Luckily, I had my Dynatoi very close at hand as well. You can see I'm pushing my 2 units of light cavalry right into this little field. There is no cavalry over here. We've got 1 unit of Dynatoi that's quickly trying to come over here, but all of these archers are now undefended, and you can see they are desperately trying to volley onto the enemy Venetian Signori, but our cavalry is just running amok within the city. This is causing huge panic for the defenders. And there we go, the archers getting charged in melee as well. This is not good. A lot of Trebizondian archers being cut down. You can see that a lot of the Skutadoi swords are breaking as well. And yeah, I am just ping-ponging my Dynatoi back and forth. The Varangian Guard taking a huge charge to the face right there. They're already weakened from the arrow fire as well, so that's really tough to see if you're rooting for the Empire of Nicaea. It's just, they didn't have any cavalry close by, and I don't think they were expecting us to break through so easily. In the most recent update, the cavalry has really good pull-through techniques, so it used to be that if you charged a unit and tried to pull through, you would lose a lot of men, but they've since updated that for some reason, and you can literally ping-pong units back and forth and get a ton of kills. Look, this one's already up to 124. My other unit over here, 153. And let's see, I've already broken some guard archers over here. I don't know where Asrian's cavalry is. I'd be interested to see how many kills they got. But yeah, it's just a general retreat over here as well. One Skutadoi sword is holding here, or spear, sorry. But one of the archers did thankfully get out of there. And yeah, another huge charge into the Varangian Guard, and they are breaking with only 31 kills. That's really tough to see, because they are an excellent unit in the choke points. And here we go as well. It looks like we had another unit of swords coming over here. We've got the Voivodes, so the second Bulgarian Tsardom, actually sending some units over to help. Unfortunately, they've just sent them to their deaths. Massive charge there from the Dynatoi right into the heavy infantry of Bulgaria. And that is another unit that most likely will leave the battlefield. But oh, we've got some catapult fire over here. It looks like both enemy catapults are firing onto my cavalry. We've also got the archers firing up and over. That's not going to be good for my units. We need to get out of there as quickly as possible. So yeah, I am able to get my cavalry out there with 212 and 230 kills. That is close to 450 kills for my cavalry. Huge, huge kills. But keep in mind, guys, we actually have a sneaky cavalry unit over here from TZN hiding in the trees. I don't think we were aware of it at that point. And they've also got the Cuman Royal Guards, which are very solid shock cavalry as well. And I think we do have another unit of Dynatoi from TZN here. Looks like some of the archers were trying to get away. And I just changed my target. I'm going to go over here. I see some of the Despot Spearmen defending some archers coming up over this way. So I'm just going to try and charge into them before they get any kind of shield wall. There we go, charge right into them. Oh, it's a soft charge. Reason being, I didn't actually select the unit to attack. I was selecting the unit behind, unfortunately, so they went right into those spears. Luckily, I was able to charge right behind the spears and catch those archers in melee, so they are not going to escape, which I was really happy to see. Eliminating archers from the battlefield in sieges is crucial. And thankfully, I am able to sneak my other unit of Dynatoi right around. Not sure why the Cuman Royal Guards haven't been activated at this point. They would have been instrumental in saving this archer unit. But yeah, I'm just going to get another charge in on them. Let's go ahead and zoom in. See if I can get right to the front here. There we go. Yeah, just riding them right down. Excellent. Oh, snap. This guy just absolutely wrecked that archer unit with his mace. Just riding them down. No mercy for the Bulgarian archers. There we go. Yes, don't mess with the Dynatoi. But as we turn the corner here, I see some Cuman Royal Guards who have been called into action. Look at those lances, too. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to go ahead and charge in with my Dynatoi there and try and lock these Cuman cavalry in melee for the time being. Let's zoom out so we can see what's going on. So we do have two units that are overpowering the Cuman Royal Guards over here. This is Tattoo's cavalry, the Dynatoi, because we want to grab all of these units that are moving back into the city center Thankfully, I finally broke those archers with this depleted unit of Dynatoid, but here we go! Some retribution for the defenders with the Dynatoid getting a huge hit into the Epirite guard. And now I think they are going to be able to charge right into this unit here. Luckily, it is in shield wall, but look how much damage it still does, throwing at least 30 men to the ground. Thankfully, most of them will get back up, which is really good. But again, this is what I'm talking about, the ping-ponging back and forth, back and forth. And even though this Dynatoid is starting to break, look at the kills on it. 400 kills from that high period Dynatoid. Absolutely crazy. And they are wasting a lot of their ammunition going after this one Skutitoi sword unit, which I was happy to see. But look at the death here, all caused pretty much by the cavalry. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, in the space of about 15 minutes, we pretty much pushed them all the way back to the final center. So the rest of the 40 minutes is going to be a very big slog indeed as we try to break the defenders here. Luckily, there are a few points we can come in. We've got the 2 at the front, and then we also have this long path right at the back here. And the defenders still do have all of their catapults, and it looks like a decent amount of ammunition. However, TZN is about down to a third, I would say. And looking at me, I've still got my flame cannon here. My catapult is full. And let's see, we've got Tattoos and Welding's catapult is at 2/3, but again, where is that cavalry? Yeah, see, it's sneaking around the trees. TZN really taking advantage of our micro over here. And yes, so luckily my cavalry might just be saved. We've got the Cuman Royal Guards holding strong in melee. Huge hits by that catapult, though. Absolutely crazy. Oh my goodness, just ripping through the Cuman Royal Guard, though, getting a lot of friendly fire. So might have broken my Dynatoid, but I think it's going to break his cavalry as well. Yeah, mine breaking, unfortunately, but his well on the way. And it looks like with this tower here, they are able to fire into the ranks of the Dynatoid, the late period. Also, we're in range of this tower here. So we're going to have to be very careful with that. But 290 kills from my cavalry, not bad. Only 30 and 67 from Tattoos and Welding's Dynatoid, but he's mostly taking on the enemy cavalry. You get a lot more kills against the enemy infantry. And yeah, see over here, I have to be careful. I've got my Italian mercenaries just asking to be hit by enemy catapult fire. I mostly wanted to waste the ammunition of this Skutitoi sword unit. But I'm also bringing some archers up. I'm going to start volleying this with some fire arrows and see if I can set his catapult alight. But yeah, we've got the cavalry sneaking around from the back here. Unfortunately, it looks like those 2 units are going to escape, which is a little frustrating, but that's okay. We did enough damage. So if we take a look at the allied man count versus enemy, so we've lost 1,200 men so far, and they have lost 2,200. So we're definitely going we're going well, I would say. It's not really man for man. Every man that we've lost, they basically lost 2. So it's pretty good, considering we started with close to the same amount of man count. But here we go, a huge charge, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. These depleted units able to pull right through a full unit of voivodes that were in shield wall, and they basically just pulled right through and got to TZN's guard archers. So we do have this example in another siege battle as well, and I think that might be a little bit overpowered. I understand where the 1212 modders are coming from with making the cavalry basically the medieval tanks. Like, when the knights came out, they could just run down unit after unit after unit. But if there's a unit that's in shield wall, and they seem to soak up the charge quite well, I don't think that this unit should have pull-through power. Or if they do, I think they should lose quite a few men during that process. Because I've seen them pull through an elite late-period spear unit that was in Testudo. They crashed into it and then basically pulled right through. And I think that might be a little bit overpowered. But we'll see how the next update changes things, or maybe they won't change it. I'm not exactly sure what their plans are for the cavalry. But I do definitely like how much damage they do cause. Now, over here with these archers, I'm actually starting to focus down the Kontoratoi, the pikemen, because I believe that the only one who has pikemen is Venice. He has 2 units, but Epirus can't bring any pikes, so that's really going to be a disadvantage for us. So we need to eliminate the enemy pikemen as best as we can. I believe they only brought 4 units total. So you can see Joe, he's got a few units of hooked pikemen back here, and we've got the 2 units of Kontoratoi from the Empire of Nicaea, but I don't believe that TZN brought any pikes. But this is kind of a drawn-out and extended... it's more of an extended skirmish phase, so we're going to have a little bit of a cut here so the video's not too long for you guys, and we'll pick it up once the action begins again. Alright guys, that was actually a very quick cut because I forgot about the hidden cavalry, the Dinotoi that TZN had hidden in the back of the map. They have come back into the city, and you can see that the units here are actually turning around in terror as they see TZN's cavalry just swooping in, throwing men for like 10-15 feet. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because all of Tattoo's archers are completely undefended. There is nothing here stopping TZN from eliminating all 4 of these heavy archers. You can see that Tattoos and Welding is quickly trying to get them ready to fire and also getting them around the corner, maybe to mitigate some of the charge from the Dinotoi. But yeah, they're just going to run right into these archers. And keep in mind, all 4 of these archers have full ammunition, so this is a really big blow. And I believe for Azrian and myself, we've actually spent all of our cavalry early on. We don't really have any answer to this. You can see I've got my general way back here, and we've got 2 generals over to this side as well. But looks like, oh, there is a unit of Venetian Signori over here, which may come in and help him out. But we've got to be careful. We've also got some axemen over here, which do not have their war dogs, so they probably used them already. But they could actually get into melee with these archers and cause a huge problem. And is there any other cavalry coming around? Don't think so. However, Joe does have another unit of axemen that is being sent out, maybe to sandwich these 2 archers and trap them. But yeah, look at this. His infantry just cannot stop the Dinotoi. Another huge charge into there. Luckily, the Epirite Guard getting a nice peel volley into the Dinotoi that is armor piercing, so they should do a decent amount of damage. But yeah, they're just running them down. Absolutely disgusting. And we were basically in this siege, we were like, well, like, there's nothing we can do to stop this. Absolutely nothing. And even in melee, these archers are not going to perform well against the Dinotoi. Look, they're up to 487 kills, this unit. Charging into the swords now. Luckily, the Epirite Guard soaking that damage up, soaking up that charge. But again, just pushing around to the archers. And one of them is broken with 2/3 ammo left. Thankfully, it does return. And we are pushing up some of the Italian mercenaries to stop this Dinotoi, but it finally shatters. However, just in time, Joe and his axemen show up to cause another headache for Tattoos and Welding. Hopefully, the heavy archers should be able to volley into these axemen. But man, some huge fiery catapult shots coming down on them as well. And if you look in the distance, we've got more axemen. So this unit is basically trapped. They don't have anywhere to go. And we've actually got a little floating man there as well, which is quite funny. So yeah, this unit is not looking too good. It may actually break for good. So how many archers did he save? He does have 1 unit of heavy archers over here, which is good. He's got another one over here, which he's quickly trying to retreat. The 3rd unit is broken. And the 4th unit, where's the 4th unit? So he might have gotten the other unit out of there. Not too sure. I don't see it on the battlefield. So I'm assuming that it might have shattered. Not too sure, but well done to TZN. Final count for that cavalry, 532 kills. So I'm telling you, man, cavalry is so key. That's why I put really low limits on 12-12 cavalry. I usually say 2 units plus the general maximum. Because if you played by Attila rules and just had 6 cav, you would just be running down like spears. And I think that's a little bit too overpowered. What? Now I've pushed up this back street here, I'm going to put the pressure on the defenders to use their ammunition on these depleted units. You can see that they have really used up a lot of their heavy archer ammunition. And over here as well, the Bulgarian archers are starting to fire onto my units as well. I have the catapult crew in here, just anything and everything to make them soak up that ammunition. That will help us late game. We got Skutatoy versus Skutatoy. How do they even tell who is who? I guess the ones that hold spears, cut them down. He might be getting a little bit of friendly fire too, which is good to see. But yeah, I'm taking a lot of damage over here, which is fine. I'm glad that Azrian is kind of holding his better units in reserve. He's got his Venetian foot signori. He's still got his Piscieri, which are very healthy. My archers are starting to get a little bit cut down, but I believe that I did shatter that pikeman unit. Yeah, I do not see it. They did have a pike unit over here, and it is gone. Also over here, you can see the Contratoi getting really cut down. And I also was focusing down TZN's flamethrowers as well. So you can see he has 0 kills on them, and he's lost 2/3 of the unit. So really unfortunate there. Nubnath, he's still holding on to 15 of them. He's guarding them with his life, making sure that they will be able to volley early on. And yes, I did bring my catapult in here, and for some reason, I think I was firing on the flamethrowers, but they moved back and I wasn't paying attention, so my catapult actually started moving way forwards closer than they needed to. And I believe that this is Nicaea's catapult getting a little bit of retribution or revenge for me taking out his flame cannon units and his catapult. So yeah, this is not looking good. I've barely got any I barely got any kills with my catapult. It's got like almost full ammunition, and I've already lost 2 of them, and it's not looking good. I think, yep, there goes a 3rd one. So this is a little bit of desperate times over here. You can see the catapult crew is like getting frustrated. They're like, "Come on, push it, get it out of there, quick! You need to save this last one." Still under fire too. It's like total panic. Ooh, very close, very close. Get it out of there. Here comes another shot. I think this one actually does hit. Ooh, again, really close. Thankfully got it out of there. But yes, here we go. My archers, unfortunately, undefended. So TZN with the Trebizond Emperor's Bodyguard actually getting a huge charge into those heavy archers. Luckily, I do get a couple of return volleys on the general. Unfortunately, didn't take out any units, but ooh, some big hits from those crossbows. And that's what I'm talking about. If they have a clear line of fire, then they will be able to get some good armor-piercing damage. So yeah, volleying over on the general there. But yeah, didn't take any casualties, which is nice for him. But there's just so many catapults in this town center, and also focusing on my Emperor's Bodyguard now, so I have to get him out of the way. And yes, thankfully holding on to one of my catapults. And I'm slowly bringing up my Anglo-Varangioi. I'm going to have my Anglo-Varangioi come up this way. I'm focusing most of my efforts on the back streets. And the reason being is because this will make the defenders have to keep key units over here to block me. And hopefully it'll make it easier for Tattoos and Venice to get in the remaining 2 choke points over here. I do have some units. You can see I've got these Skutatoy swords here just blocking the way. That way I can protect some of these archers. But there we go. I think that this catapult is finally out of ammunition, TZN's catapult crew. And Nath is out as well, which is excellent. So I think only Joe has ammunition left. His catapult's way back here. But look at this once again. Heavy archers from Tattoos and Welding actually getting surprised by the Voivodes. So Joe actually sending some units in to block the heavy archers. And if the Axemen can beat the unit of Epirite Guard on this side, then the heavy archers are going to have nowhere to retreat to. So that is tough to see if you're rooting for the attackers. Luckily, this one seems to be out of harm's way, but he's going to try and bring it in behind to fire on the Voivodes. And yeah, we don't really have any cavalry over here that can defend these archers. Yeah, oh, and the Epirite Guard breaking just in time to catch these heavy archers in melee, but you can see Tattoos is desperately trying to pull them over. And we do have the Venetian Signori coming to the aid of Tattoos' heavy archers on this flank. Not sure. These archers would have been better to come over here because they would have had a clear line of fire. But I'm sending my general over here as well to help out. And actually, over here, this was huge. I was sending my Anglo-Varangioi over, but I was focusing on the general's bodyguard, my general, and dealing with the Voivodes over there, and Joe getting a huge charge with his general right into my Anglo-Varangioi, absolutely slaughtering that unit, and then my archers have no defenses now. So I'm in the exact same position as Tattoos and Welding, with 2 units of archers with full ammunition in danger. And look at that, Anglo-Varangioi down to 54 men from 120. Thankfully, his general is actually getting destroyed. And I said this was Joe's general. Apologies, it was TZN's general. So 169 kills there. And yeah, just look at this. Absolutely disgusting. And I think he actually does get away with his general still alive as well. I believe that's him with the red cape. So he will be able to get back into the town center. Looking at the man count, though, we only have a 300-man advantage, so they've really clawed it back. Thankfully, we've destroyed the Axemen over here, as well as the Voivodes, I believe. Oh, no, they actually retreated. So Joe, well done, actually getting that unit out of there. But did we manage to save those archers, is the thing. I believe we did. Yes, here's the heavy archers over here. And we do have another unit of heavy archers that has been saved as well. But we are pushing for the town center now. You can see the Despot Spearmen are now engaged in melee. And we're desperately trying to capture this tower as well. You can see that the Epirus flag is rising high. And once it gets to the top, this tower should go down. There we go. Oh, what happened there? Sorry about that. I think I clicked a button I didn't want to click. My bad. I was trying to take a screenshot, but it ended up shooting me way over into the sea. Yeah, every time I take a screenshot, it sends me over there. That's very strange. But I do have my general's bodyguard who's actually headed over this direction. I was going to try and catch those Voivodes, but I noticed that we have some heavy archers right on the hilltop here, so I didn't think it was going to be a good idea. I decided to pull him out and away from those archers, because the last thing I want is to lose my general's bodyguard at this stage. But yeah, we're still firing down, very slow to attack this town center, not much going on. So let's make another cut here, guys. I believe we do end up expending a lot more of our ammunition from our archers before moving in for the final assault. So we'll see you again soon. Alright guys, welcome back to the battlefield, and we can see that the general's bodyguard again pulling right through my Epirite guard and going for my undefended archers way at the back lines here. You can see that they are having a tough time in melee against the Tsar's bodyguard. One of them actually already shattering, which is bad for me. I've lost a lot of archers with valuable ammunition here. And you can see that the general's bodyguard is probably going to break this other unit as well. Then he gets a nice counter charge into the Epirite guard as they do push forwards to try and trap the Tsar's bodyguard. And he's just able to pull right away. And you can see that we also have the flame cannon setting up as well. I'm desperately trying to fire on that to make sure that they do not fire on me. There we go, some huge hits though. just absolutely shredding the Epirite Guard with the brave guard that they are, actually getting right into melee against the flame cannons, and that will actually eliminate him completely, or this unit completely, which is really good to see. So getting rid of this unit early on is absolutely crucial. Very, very crucial. There we go. Shattered that unit. Only 24 kills, so not too bad. And the Epirite Guard is going to be able to move forwards once again. I also have my last unit of Anglo-Varangioi moving forwards to defend this heavy archer unit. And I'm also bringing forwards my unit as well of the heavy flame cannons. Over here on this side, I'm really struggling against the Scutatoi. You can see my Italian mercenaries are getting absolutely shredded over here by the remaining archers of the defenders. And same thing over here, we've got a huge slog between the Genoese crossbowmen mixed in with the Despot spearmen and the Anglo-Varangioi against the Venetian foot signori. Let's go ahead and take a look at their battle here. Just bloodshed on the steps here. Love the mercenary Genoese crossbows, though. Their shields looking really cinematic. You can see the smoldering buildings in the background. But the Venetians do have quite a bit of heavy infantry still left. You can see we've got a unit here of the Venetian foot signori, and then he's also got his Italian mercenaries, that's actually tattoos, and he's got all of his heavy shock infantry as well as his pikemen. So we're looking pretty good at this point, I would say. And over here, I'm moving up my flame cannons, and the archers are desperately trying to focus this unit down so that they do not get any more kills. They're up to 65 so far, which is pretty good. We've also got a unit of archers that are moving over this way to probably engage the voivodes. Hopefully they will fire on them instead of engaging them in melee. And you can see, yeah, really being focused, which is kind of good. I mean, this is a really sad unit to lose, but a lot of their shots are missing because it's such a small unit. So having them focus over here on me and not focusing on the infantry in the front, like the valuable Venetian foot signori, is a pretty good idea, I would say. Let's go ahead and look at the viewpoint of these spears here, who are about to be toasted alive once again. Let's just see the actual splashback volume. Oh, yes! Just like that, one volley, and pretty much having the unit. So I'd really love to see how much damage they would do if the units were like extremely clumped up. Kind of like when you take advantage of units with Nafatoons. If you see like 10 or 12 units that are all in the same general area, and then throw the Naft throwers in, it has the ability to get hundreds of kills, and I'm kind of curious if this is the same thing. However, I've found with the heavy Greek fire throwers that they don't have the arc ability, so they're not really able to fire up and over the heads of these units very well. You can see I'm getting a bit of friendly fire as it rips through my men. But yeah, hitting the bodyguard right there, the Trebizond Emperor's bodyguard, down to 4 men. And he's trying to push through to the Greek fire throwers, but it's not really going to help him too much. And there we go. The enemy general is dead, so that is one of them out of the way. But yeah, you can see ripping through the lines of my own men. I'm actually going to try and pull them back a bit so that I can get some good shots on the hooked pikemen of Bulgaria. There we go. Some more hits there. Quick fire, boys! Yeah, it's not going to work, and I do pull my flame cannons out of the way because I do not want them engaged in melee. Yeah, you can see that they're already wavering, which is not good. And we've got another general's bodyguard coming over here, the Emperor's bodyguard of Nicaea, I believe. Thankfully, my Epirite guard did return, and this unit did as well. So they're up to 120 kills, and I believe we have one more volley left. So I do want to get a volley on this hooked pikeman. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Well done to Joe, though, actually pushing his hooked pikeman into melee, making it harder for me to focus them down. But yeah, now they're out of ammunition. So that's what I mean, 128 kills. I feel like I use them pretty effectively, but they don't get as many kills as Naphatoons. However, they're very valuable in sieges like we saw at the beginning of the battle, just breaking these choke points up so that we can get men through. So if I had a unit of cavalry set up here, this would be absolutely massive to get some cavalry in behind the defenders' lines and just cause total mayhem. But, I mean, we're doing pretty well. Looks like Tattoos and Welding is using his catapult to good effect, going after the Voivode catapult. Probably not a huge target to go for anymore, considering it's pretty much out of ammunition at this point. It is returning fire, though, on Tattoos' catapult, and I don't want these Italian mercenaries to get hit, too. He's going to have to be careful paying attention to that. But I'm pretty much all out of units at this point. Most of them are engaged in melee. I'm bringing my one unit of heavy archers over to this flank, as well as my general. But it's pretty much down to the Venetians to win this engagement now. But it looks like we do have the Picheri pushed in, so that's really going to help against the Anglo-Varangioi. They do not perform well against pikes at all. Let's actually take a look from the spear's point of view. The sight of all these heavy Venetian infantry would be very terrifying, especially since you look back into the town center and you see how little men you have to defend the city with. But they will not give up. It still is a very close battle. If we actually take a look at the man count here, it is 1962 to 1730. So basically we only have 240 men? So, still very close. Here we go. I've got my Anglo-Varangioi dealing with the hooked pikemen. Again, not the best situation for them. They're not going to do as good of a job. But thankfully, we have the 2 units of heavy archers over here, plus my heavy archers, just going after the Bulgarian hooked pikemen from the flank. And take a look at their missile block. It's actually 5. So they are extremely susceptible to enemy archer fire. Let's actually get a nice shot of them just being rained upon by the archers. My goodness. This is a slaughter. A lot of them having arrows in their backs. Just look at that terrifying sight of all of the arrows coming up over top of the hill. And I believe, yep, that has completely broken that unit. Well, they probably will return. But thankfully, the range of the heavy archers is going to allow Tattoos to fire onto the backs of these pikes and give me the edge in fighting them. Because you can see the Anglo-Varangioi, they're not doing as good. The heavy infantry are mostly good for breaking up swords and spear formations, but once they get into pikemen, it's a difficult fight. Because first they have to break through the pike formation themselves. Yeah, see, I'm getting a lot of friendly fire there, which isn't ideal. But yes, so Tattoos and Welding really helping me with his heavy archers there on depleting the Bulgarian hooked pikemen. And there they go. Thankfully, they actually break into my men as well, which is huge. So I'm able to actually defeat a lot of them instead of them retreating back to the town center and then maybe rallying. And my general's bodyguard is over here. He's ready to attack as well, but unfortunately, Joe is ready with another unit of Despot Spearmen, who is going to plug this gap and keep them defended for more time. Over here again, see these crossbows, they just don't really get a good shot. So, like, they've got their pretty much full ammunition. And over here as well, the Ballistari from Azrian Fox, they are also obstructed. So they're not really able to get that arc, which is really too bad. Looks like the Venetian foot signori that had broken, they are returning to the battlefield. And looks like Noob Nath is going to try and push his catapult down the flank. Or, sorry, down the hilltop here and maybe disrupt the pike formation. Valid strategy. And look at this over here. We've got 2 fresh units of Venetian foot signori breaking through the Scutatoi, and they basically only got archers left at this point. Most of their infantry has been engaged. We've got 1 more unit of voivodes over here, and another unit of voivodes close to this choke point. But we've got the Emperor's bodyguard coming up over here. Hopefully he will be able to snake into the town center, maybe cause some trouble. But yeah, this is where the Anglo-Varangioi will probably do a better job, is in fighting the spearmen. Plus, it doesn't hurt to have the help of the heavy archers firing in their flank. But Joe, he's also got some archers that are going to be able to bolster the ranks as well. I believe they have used up most of their ammunition, if not all. But unfortunately, my general really can't do too much here. That's why I'm bringing him back down the road. There's nothing really here to defend. If they want to break these two units, it's fine. They don't have enough units to launch a counterattack down this road, so I'm just going to leave it be for now. And I'm going to actually take my general over here and help in this choke point because it's looking really light. And what I actually do see, I'm not sure if you guys can see this as well. You see the spears that are fighting here. But these swords, these are the Venetian infantry. So they've actually pushed this unit back from the wall. So I'm going to take my general and try and snake him right through that opening and just cause a bunch of ruckus right in behind enemy lines in the town center. And sure, they could push their generals in to stop me, but unfortunately there's just not enough of them to be able to do much damage at all. So here we go, I'm putting him into a really thin formation, and I'm just going to try and pull him right around this corner, because he shouldn't get engaged in melee, because these are friendly units. So this is, yeah, perfect. This is exactly what I was talking about. And now we're just going to be able to get this unit right in behind the Genoese crossbowmen, who, mind you, only have 32 kills and have most of their ammunition. So let's just eliminate them from the battlefield right now. Yep, huge charge into the backs of the Bulgarians and the heavy archers as well. There we go. And again, the ping-ponging is just going to start again. I'm just going to bounce from unit to unit, hitting a unit of heavy archers here with my general, causing them to waver. We've got more units that have to be pulled away from the defense of this choke point now to deal with my general. And Azarian is pouring in his general to do the exact same thing. So very, very good. I think with 2 minutes left in the battle, we've got this. 600-man advantage now, and with the cavalry in behind the units that are holding the choke points, we should be fine. Unfortunately, my general has fallen. I always seem to, in my 12-12 battles, just throw away my general's life towards the end of the battle, but he always does something epic, so I guess it's alright. Epic strat. So a very, very bloody battle indeed. And I hope you guys enjoy the flamethrowers as well. They are, as I said, you can get them in the rosters of most of the Greek factions. So Epirus, Trebizond, Nicaea, and I believe the Latin Empire, if they're in there as well, should all be able to get the Greek flame cannons. And yeah, it looks like this general is going to die as well, unfortunately. He's kind of... Yep, there we go. So that general is gone, but here we go. We've got some Venetian signori coming through, and actually that was Tattoo's general, so this must be Azarian's general, the Doge's bodyguard. And well done. Good call here, actually breaking this choke point completely, because we have a lot of swords and halberds that can actually be used for putting pressure on this other choke point. And yeah, we do have some archers over here that are laughingly going to try and put up a fight to the heavy signori. There we go. Nice charge. Not even slowing down. And we've got the desperate attempt from the general's bodyguard there, charging in to hold the signori in place. But at this point, the battle is pretty much won. We've got the voivodes over here just being run down by the Doge's bodyguard. And the floodgates have opened. And my 2 remaining units are in the town center. I think, yeah, I've got 4 units altogether. So a lot of Epirites have died in this battle. I think Tattoos and Welding was down to about 6 units as well. So it was mainly the Venetians that kind of muscled the win here. Huge charge into the backs of the remaining defenders. And there is the battle. And classically, it is a Pyrrhic victory. For those of you guys who don't know, this is named after the Emperor Pyrrhus, who was an emperor of Epirus way back in Macedonian times. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results here. So deploying relatively the same amount of men. Who paid the most here? TZN paying the most, only 57 remaining. But myself and Tattoos actually walking away with close to the same amount of men, 500. And Azrian had 1,100 left, which is really good to see. So taking a look at my kills, the Anglo-Varangioi doing really well. The Epirite Guard here getting 126. Some archers getting good kills. My Greek Flamethrower did okay, and Cavalry doing really well. Looking at Azrian, he did well with his archers. Some of his Venetian Signori did well. But yeah, huge kills on his Cavalry. You can see there, 396 and 245. Looking at Tattoos and Weldings, he got less kills on his Cavalry, but only because he was fighting Cavalry. If he was charging infantry, would have done much better. But good kills all around, good kills on his archers, even though they were harassed for most of that late battle. Looking at TZN, most of the kills from his cavalry, almost 1,000 kills from 2 units, actually over 1,000 if you count the general's bodyguard. The rest of the spears and swords didn't really hold their own, unfortunately, pretty low kills. The Varangian Guard for Nubnath unfortunately got very low kills, same with his Greek throwers. I focused them down as best as I could, but 154 from the catapult, which is nice, and good kills on the heavy archers there. And looking at Joe, good kills with his archers, his axemen doing pretty solidly, especially eliminating Tattoo's bombard right at the beginning. You can see it got 0 kills, and I think it only brought down 1 or 2 towers, and a couple of his Despot spearmen doing pretty solidly as well. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one.